Hi, welcome to the Problem to be Solved, where quirky inventions meet reality. I'm your host D+, and let's see what we'll uncover this time. So today we're talking about something very special. Mice. Yeah, I see, it's again in the animal kingdom, however, this time from the other side. Last time we were talking about a cat should be able to hunt still some mice. This time it's about the mouse itself. So probably you yourself or your parents, your close friends, neighbors, they had to deal at some point in time with a pesky mouse infestation. Why is it pesky? Why is it so annoying? Well, have you ever tried to catch a mouse, like with your bare hands? Unless they're caged in, it's barely possible. On the other side, a mouse infestation very quickly becomes a mice infestation, so you have to be quite quick about that. Hi, so what's the deal then? If you can't have a cat, well, you have some choice, like different kinds of traps, be catch alive traps or other sort of traps. You have several kinds of repellents that work, be electrical repellents or chemical repellents that produce some kind of scent or pheromone that scares them away, or even some auditory repellents that just produce some sound and try to scare the critter away that way. So, what is then the problem? These devices, be it a trap or a repellent, they work very well in small areas. Think about a garage or a garden shed or your kitchen. You set up one trap and you check it every day or every second day and things should go smoothly. However, think about something bigger now. Think about a warehouse or a huge storage facility or your town center mall. These require then several traps spread out everywhere. And how do you make sure that one of the traps was successful? You could, for example, tell one of your employees to every day check all these spots where you set outdoor traps to simply check whether the mouse infestation has been dealt with. However, nobody's perfect. I bet you that this employee after 2 or 3 days will forget 2, 3, 4 of those trap locations, and if one of those traps will be successful, you will only notice it due to the smell after around a month. And this is a very gruesome sight. So, how can this problem then be dealt with? There was an inventor who had the wonderful idea for that. So, let's go to the pattern book and check that one out. No way. No way. What is this? Are you kidding me? How does this thing solve any of our problems? Well, let's simply check out what is happening. It looks like this is a button to activate this device, so let's just press it and... Oh my goodness! What just happened? I've only seen some sparks and smoke coming out of this pistol. Seems like this is some kind of trap, some kind of animal trap. So let's check it out a little bit more in detail, how this thing works. So in front here you can see we have a kind of a wooden porch that is supported by a leaf spring down there that simply biases our wooden porch upwards around its pivot point. The pivot point being this middle screw here that makes it rotate around it. And if you have now my finger or rodent or anything go past this spring bias, our porch is rotating, allowing this middle lever to go loose, to just go upwards here.
Now, why does this thing here go upwards, this lever? This lever similarly is fastened by this screw working as a pivot point, so that also this lever can go upwards or rotate around this pivot point. And this rotation is due to another leaf spring on the far side of the device. This leaf spring continuously biases the lever on the right side downwards, meaning on the left side upwards, which is usually prevented from happening because it's abutting this front porch. But if the front porch is, as said, activated or triggered, then the whole device, the whole lever, just snaps upwards due to the leaf spring. This upwards movement, however, then also moves this steel wire slowly and only a tiny little bit backwards, as you can see here, due to this rotation. This backward movement, however, then moves the trigger of the pistol, and yeah, this leads then to lots of nice sparks coming out of the front. No bullets, no bullets. We do not want to harm any animals in these demonstrations, hence it's all safe. And this is our wonderful animal trap. Apparently the problem is solved simply by having a loud bang coming out of your pistol, and this bang definitely alarms you that one of your traps might have caught a mouse or dealt with your mouse infestation.
Wow, if that's not a banger, then I do not know what. I mean, in German we have a saying, mit Kanonen auf Spatzen schießen, which roughly translates to shooting sparrows with cannons, which is really happening there. I also really like this Wild West style pattern. I mean, it's from 1882 from Texas, so this is a true original. And the language used is also fantastic. It's like real renegade style, and I want to share some of the passages of the pattern with you. It goes like this. Be it known that I, Jas Alexander Williams of Fredonia, in the county of San Saba, state of Texas, have invented certain new and useful improvements in animal traps. And I do hereby declare the following to be full, clear, and exact description of the invention, such as will enable others skilled in the art to which it pertains to make and use it, reference being had to the accompanying drawing which forms part of this specification. Fair enough. So he's simply telling us, yeah, with this patent you will be able, if you're a person skilled in the art, to reproduce it, which is actually one of the requirements of patent law. And this here, the objective of my invention is to provide a means by which animals which can burrow in the ground can be destroyed, and which trap will give an alarm each time it goes off, so that it can be reset. So yeah, the main part is not really about the killing part, because it would probably not be a good publicity in the patent, but that it is an alarm, which is true. However, this invention may also be used in connection with a door or window, so as to kill any person or thing opening the door or window to which it is attached. Yeah, I think nowadays this paragraph might actually be troublesome in some legislations, but more on that maybe in another video. Now, just putting this quickly aside, you might think this is actually the best alarm triggered mousetrap I've ever seen, and I want it, and I want to own one of these humane, or should I say mouse-mane traps. Yeah, I did some research, and the only thing I could find were actually do-it-yourself kits and manuals based on this particular patent. by people who were quite crafty and simply tried it out. But I couldn't find it in any store, especially not in Europe, but also no US-based store, at least not online. Why is that? Well, besides the obvious problem, at least with the pattern specification itself, if you've seen the device, it doesn't account for recoil of the pistol. I could immediately imagine that not only when it gets triggered, that the pistol will just fly around and maybe do more harm than good. Well, in general, probably more harm than good. But also, it does not account for any perturbation. So if there's wind, if there's somebody bumping into it, the pistol will likely just tip over and the whole trap will not work. But besides these issues, very often, for example, in those pattern specifications, these things, these more or less obvious solutions to a problem, like having like a fastening ribbon around or something, they are not even mentioned because it is said a pattern should only be understood by a skilled person, and small details can be solved by a skilled person. So a crafty person will figure out something to stabilize the pistol. However, why can't we buy this trap? It has to do also with another misconception about patents sometimes. Many people think if you own a patent, you own the right to do something. You own the right to produce, to sell, and to commercially exploit your device in the legislation where you got the patent granted. So, imagine your mom and a cooking jar. A cookie jar. So, you were 6 years old, 7 years old, and you asked your mom, I would like a cookie from this cookie jar. And what people think a patent will be is that the mom owns this cookie jar with the cookies in there and can freely distribute those cookies, right? And can give you a cookie because you were a good boy or girl or not. And now think about it the other way. Think about this cookie jar is not filled with cookies, or with cookies out of dough and chocolate crisps and maybe even some jam on it. No, these are actually briquettes of plutonium. Yeah, you might say, there's something out there. Why does the mom own a cookie jar full with briquettes of plutonium? And not only should probably the mom not give this plutonium cookie to a child. No, it should not even be there in this kitchen in the first place. And this is a little bit how you can think about it. In our patent, we have something extremely dangerous. We have a loose cannon, literally, that just shoots random things that you can't control. Even the patent application, or the patent itself, it was granted, tells about shooting people or any other means and things that go through doors and windows with it. Of course, that is super dangerous, and you will not get any approval by any legislation, at least that I am aware of, that would allow such a device to be used. There are laws and regulations, be it gun laws, be it security laws, be it production or quality standards for certain items that would simply not be fulfilled. And then you would not get the permit to use your device or to produce and sell your device. Similar to this plutonium jar your mom has. She will never get a permit to have a jar full of plutonium in the kitchen. So what is a patent good then for? You might ask. If it's not giving you the permit to commercially exploit your device. Yeah, this is the little tweak in it. A patent is actually, we call it a negative right. It gives you the ability to say no, to not allow somebody else to do something. In this case, with the pistol, You can tell your neighbor who saw you, for example, having all your prototypes set up in the garden, doing all your research and being very enthusiastic about this trap, and getting inspired and wanting to sell it itself. And you would be able to simply not allow this person to do it, or allow commercial exploitation of a similar device or of the same device, but paying you licensing fees. More on licensing maybe in another video. Good. However, if the device itself does not have a permit in the first place, you not telling the neighbor to be able to use it just makes it double not allowed to use. So you don't gain nothing from the patent itself. Very often this misconception is, for example, perceived by people in the biotech area, where controversial patents could be granted, and people think that just having a patent for one of those controversial topics, let's say, for example, let's take pistols, indeed. Let's take arms, military weapons. These are ethically problematic, maybe, and they think that these patents should not be granted because it gives the person holding the patent the right to produce such an item. But it is not true. This is simply not true. It only gives the right to this person to tell all the other people that they may not produce this item. And if it's not allowed to produce this item and sell this item in the first place, making it double not allowed doesn't help. And also doesn't help the patent holder itself, because the patent holder itself will still not be allowed to exploit the patent, at least if the legislation is not changing. But there is one loophole in this system. You can, of course, check out my Patreon and my soon-to-open web store and get your own little 3D replica of this device, be it as an artwork or as a 3D print, and at least have something to look at. Then thank you very much for your attention, and if you like this kind of content, if you like quirky inventions, be sure to like and subscribe, and hopefully see you next time.